At the end of one of my classes, I remember a doctor, a cardiologist, approached me. He was a very gentle soul, but he had a very difficult life. He said, Rabbi Jacobson, can you please help me, pray for me, to find some calm, some peace in my life? Being a cardiologist and having a good sense of humor, I said to him, do you mean like a flat line? He said, no. Not that calm, not that peaceful. A flat line, we know what that is. You want your cardiogram to be a wave. Yes, we don't want extreme peaks and extreme valleys, but you want a wave, you don't want a flat line. But yet, so many of us face anxiety, aggravation, disruptions, upheavals. So the big question is there a way to find more calm in our lives? Or maybe the bigger question is, why does life have to be so challenging? And then, are there methods to find more balance? To find that perfect wave? So please join me in this relevant and important discussion to each one of us. Chasing calm. Why does peace elude us? Hi, this is Simon Jacobson, and we will be speaking about chasing calm. Why does peace elude us? This program is dedicated by Donna Pressman in honor of Jav Glazer and Jasmine Dwyer. I remember a number of years ago giving a class in New York City. At the end of the class, an individual who I'd known, he had been coming to the classes for a while. He was a doctor, a cardiologist. And he said to me with such heartfelt, sincere anguish, Rabbi Jacobson, maybe you can help me. Maybe you can pray for me. Maybe you can help me in some way find some calm, some peace in my life. He was a very gentle soul, a beautiful person, but he suffered greatly. He had personal challenges, familial challenges, a complicated life. And my heart went out to him. I would do anything to help him. He had a good sense of humor. And being a cardiologist, I said to him, so doctor, you mean like a flat line? You want that much calm and peace? And he burst out laughing and said, no, not that calm, not that much peace. Now we know a flat line is not what you want to see on a cardiogram. A cardiogram, of a healthy heart, is a wave. Yes, we don't want extreme peaks and extreme valleys, but it's a wave. That's a cardiogram. A flat line is a sign of no heartbeat. But yet, it seems to elude us to be able to find that balance. Nobody wants that level of bliss where you don't exist anymore. We don't have any feelings. So is there a way to find the balance? And more importantly, why does peace elude us? Why is it so difficult to find a peaceful life? Look at our lives. Anguish, aggravation, sometimes extreme, ups and downs, twists and turns, setbacks of all sorts, the anxiety that it leads. It's one of the highest rates of anxiety that we have today, according to all statistics. Are we destined to a life of such turbulence, upheavals, disruption? So interestingly, when we look into the Bible, in this week's chapter, it talks exactly about this. The story of Jacob. We all know the story of Jacob. Everyone knows the story of Jacob wrestling with the angel. But he didn't begin with wrestling with the angel. He's been wrestling with his brother, his twin brother, even in pregnancy, not just from birth. Pregnancy. A man that struggled all his life. First with his brother Esav. Then later for 20 years with his uncle Laban. That conniving, shrewd criminal. And then finally, after building his family, he's ready to come home to Israel and live in peace. The expression is Jacob yearned, longed, wanted to live in tranquility. Bikesh Yaakov leishav b'shalva. Yeah, he requested, he was desperate to live calm. And what happens? The expression is kofza lav rigzei shel Yosef. So what pounced on him was the terrible tragedy that happened with his son Joseph, where his brothers, Jacob's other children, were jealous of him. They wanted to kill him. They ended up selling him into slavery, telling the father Jacob that he was dead. And the rest of his life, Jacob continued to mourn for him. 22 years. And finally they reconciled. They finally reunited. And the last 17 years of his 147 years, Jacob finally lived peaceful years. But it took that long, to the point that he tells Pharaoh, my life, when he asked him how old he is, my life was short and painful. So why couldn't this great man, this righteous person, have some peace after what he had gone through over all those years? Why does it say when he wanted to live in peace? No. And we're told because you live in this world, you cannot escape from its anxieties. But why not? Why can't a person find that type of peace? Therein lies the secret to life itself. And why indeed is a cardiogram, is the heartbeat a wave? Why can't it be much smoother than that? I'm not suggesting a flat line, but conceptually. And the answer is because that's the very definition of life. Life is movement, mobility, a wave. It's not a straight line, a flat line. It's the twists and turns. It's all the ups and downs, the shades, the colors, the diversity of life. Yes, we don't want extremes. But to use the words of Ezekiel, the prophet, he says, "V'hachayis rotzei v'shuv." The energy ran to and fro, tension and resolution. It's a dual process, like the heartbeat, like the breath, exhale and inhale, and like anything in life that's moving, especially energy, positive and negative. So in a way, that is what creates forward movement. But movement always has the risk of the unknown, of surprises. Yes, it'd be very safe to just sit in one place all your life, locked up, protected, in the womb, but that's not life. So what we need to understand is that life is synonymous with change. Change has the possibility of extremes, and those extremes can create a lack of calm. But what would we be like, human beings, if we just had animal bliss? You know, you're busy working. and you're dreaming of the vacation that you're going on, a warm place. You could lie on the beach, no worries, close your eyes. Try spending a lot of time doing that. And somewhere, and something will continue to gnaw at you, a certain angst. I'm talking about a healthy person. So we all want some calm and peace, but not complete. We always need some angst, some healthy angst, some restlessness. And indeed, when you understand that your soul, your very soul, is compared to a flame, study a flame, think of a flame. It's flickering all the time. It's never static. It's never stable. It's flickering, up and down, up and down. That's a healthy soul. You're alive. And there's always that measure of tension and resolution. The perfect balance is when you have those two in harmony. A certain amount of tension, a certain amount of drive to succeed at something, a goal, a deadline, an objective, a destination that you're seeking, but you're not quite there. So that drives you, that pushes you. Then when you arrive, there's the resolution, you're integrated. But then only to lead to the next step, to the next leg of the journey. That's true healthy life. We all dream of not having to do anything. But if you think about it, that's not natural. The rhythms of life, by definition, are exactly that, rhythms, a pulsating energy. I know today in our world of leisure and comforts, some people aspire to do what? To do nothing. I've heard many people say, what do you aspire? I just want to do nothing. Nothing. To master the art of the couch potato with a remote in your hand or a smartphone. You don't have to move. And you live vicariously through others. And that's what gives you all the excitement you need in life. I can't resist the joke. Guy sitting depressed, an old man on a park bench, and his friend comes over and says to him, why are you so down today? He says, my wife is very upset at me. He says, nothing new, she's always upset at you. No, today's something special. What? When she went to work this morning, she asked me what I'm going to do. So I told her, nothing. And she looked at me and said, you said that yesterday, that you're going to do nothing. So I told her, I wasn't finished yet. I wasn't finished doing nothing. Has that become our new objective, to do nothing? I understand where the sentiment comes from, because after being so busy and burned out and such hard work, we've been taught time to retire, time to relax. I remember visiting Florida once, and I visited a friend. He's a supporter of ours, successful man, but he's retired now. He's in Florida. He plays golf all day. Over the years that I knew him, extremely intelligent, motivated, driven, very interesting, colorful individual. And here he plays golf. And I said to him, how do you get stimulated just by golf? He says, look, I had my years of excitement. Now I go out on the golf course of all day, beautiful rolling green grass, calm, sunny, it's warm, no worries. And it's an excellent transition to the next stage of my journey, which is when I die. That's what he's telling me. I said, how's that a transition? He said, first of all, the calm, but also the very golf course. If you think about it, rolling green grass, like a cemetery, with holes in the ground. That's what he told me. I said, that's very life-affirming. Now, he meant half jokingly, but the human soul doesn't age. The human soul, by nature, has that divine restlessness. We seek transcendence. You never want to extinguish that flame. Never. Because that's what really defines who you are. There's the temptation to do so. Because the other side of the spectrum is this busy rush hour, the rat race, the merry-go-round, the roller coaster, all the different analogies. And it can burn you out. That's why the key is to focus on spiritual restlessness, not on the material restlessness, which comes from that drive and saying, if I have 1 million, I want 2 million, 2 million, 4 million. It's always good to want more, but you can't allow the greed or selfishness or material success to really fill that void of your, what I would call, transcendent restlessness. So we need that restlessness. We need the flickering flame, and we need to find resolution. That's why we need to find ways to channel it, to direct it, to harness it, but never to eliminate that energy. But that still doesn't answer the big question that I asked earlier. Why? Why can't we have some peace? Why is it so elusive? Chasing calm. It's a chase. So this takes us to yet one more important point. Everything I described till now has been the natural order of the cycles and rhythms of life. The cardiogram, the contraction, expansion, the exhale and inhale, the very pulsating nature of our existence. But there's one more thing. When we deviate and we go off course, so then the heartbeat, and I mean that in the broadest sense of the word, not just the physical heartbeat, the very heartbeat of existence begins to beat stronger. Your heart races. And that creates a measure of, we'll call it not just angst and restlessness, but even anxiety. Deeper forms of imbalance. To use the way the mystics explain it, is when there's an imbalance in our life, a dissonance in our lives, that dissonance is going to create a lot more pressure. And that's where life becomes much more challenging. Now, this can come from our childhoods, growing up in a volatile home, an unpredictable home, a dysfunctional environment, where you don't know where your love is coming from, where you don't feel the security that every child deserves. So you start building up your own anxiety. Where are my parents? How are they going to behave? Will they smile to me or will they be angry today? Will an alcoholic father be abusive or kind? And all these questions plague at the heart of a young, impressionable child and creates a very unstable environment, especially psychologically. Can I trust? And as we grow older, trust becomes a very difficult thing to find. So of course, in a world like that, a hostile world, unpredictable, uncertainty shakes us. So there's no question that we're going to have less peace and less calm in our lives. It's not always self-imposed. It could be influenced by our environment, by our family, by our children, by our parents. And then by the world at large. You then enter into a dog-eats-dog world where people's greed in the financial sense of it or other forms, you begin to realize, whom can I trust? Even my best friends can turn on me if it serves their interest. Hopefully you have people in your life that are unconditionally loyal. But it's not always that easy to find. And regardless, we're all going to face somewhere a betrayal, some violation of our dignity, a disappointment, a broken promise, a shattered dream. All these things contribute to the volatility, contribute to the feeling of insecurity, which, of course, to the feeling of unnecessary anxiety. We're not talking about the healthy heartbeat. We're not talking about the healthy ups and downs. So how do you counter that? Unfortunately, many people, to relieve that tension, to find relief, turn to all types of ulterior or alternate methods. It could be substances, addictions of different sorts, physical emotional, psychological, from drugs to alcohol, to sex, to gambling, behavioral addictions. It's all trying to fill the void, the emptiness within. But to no avail, because it doesn't solve the problem. It just creates new problems, or it masks the problems and numbs you for a while. So you may be comfortable technically, but you are numbing your very spirit. That's why there's the temptation to try to shut it all down. Can I create calm? Everything is racing around me. My internal system is all on edge. High alert, the antennae of where the next attack will come from. And anyone experiencing this knows exactly what I'm referring to. The phone rings and your heart gets tight. Well, who's complaining now? Who has something to criticize? This is what happens when you are consistently attacked and under the barrage of critique and judgment. Just for the record, I'm not painting a picture that everyone goes through all of this all the time. Some of us have very loving people, and that's a great blessing, that support us, that affirm us, that validate us. But we all know it's a difficult world. It's a hostile world. It's a toxic world. And then just turn on the media and you see what's going on. And yet within you still pulsates a healthy heart and a healthy soul that looks to flicker with the healthy forms of tension and resolution, but now it's been overridden and it's overshadowed by this new extreme volatility. So the solution is not to eliminate that flickering flame, God forbid, to extinguish your restlessness. It's to find that balance. So what you need to do is to separate between the two and say, I need to establish every day in a regimen of a healthy flow, a healthy contraction, expansion. You commit yourself, let's say, to spiritual study. I talk often about immersing ourselves in our spiritual spa. You give your soul comfort, you know how? Not just by resting. Obviously, we all need our rest. You give your soul calm by feeding its flame. Stimulating SPA in the spa, study, prayer, action, cognitive, emotional, and behavioral conditioning. You study something, and it's not so easy. Let it tax your mind, and you exert yourself. So there's an element of restlessness, an element of angst, because I don't really get it. But what don't you get? Something that is very uplifting and transcendent, and you work at it. Same thing emotionally. Push yourself, exercise your emotional muscles. Building a new relationship with someone, or a relationship that you already have, push yourself out of your comfort zone. Try to find a deeper connection with your spouse, with your loved ones, with your significant people in your life that you care for and they care for you. But push yourself out of your comfort zone. Remember, that's the key, to get out of the comfort. So it's not trying to avoid tension and resolution, it's creating a healthy form of tension and resolution. And finally, in a behavioral level, you're a charitable person, push yourself a little more, give until it hurts. It could be financially, it can be time, volunteering, advice, counsel. And you can do so one-on-one, you could do it online. That pushing yourself feeds the soul's need for the movement that we were speaking about, for that pulsating elements of those rhythms. You'll say, but what about all my other anxieties? You'll notice that when you do it in a healthy way, it will weaken the energy that you would invest elsewhere. So that energy and anxiety where you are afraid of what's going to happen at work, or what someone may have told you, or what you imagine someone should have told you. You basically want to transfer all that energy and investment of energy into a healthy Ratzeh and Shuv, into a healthy tension and resolution. I'm not saying automatically it relieves the others, but it creates an environment where you can thrive, an oasis if you wish. Many people talk about unplugging. Some people think of the beauties. A few people have told me they didn't grow up Shabbat observant, but the weekend Shabbat has become an oasis, a savior for them. Like unplugging from the tensions, from the pressures around you, and just connecting to your soul's rhythms. So you see, the opposite of anxiety is not a flat line. It's a healthy form of angst and a healthy form of resolution. And when you introduce that, that's where your energy gets invested in, as opposed to other more negative forms. And finally, in the context of Jacob, why should a person have to find it so difficult to experience that elusive peace? Why do we have to chase calm? Because we are souls in a turbulent world. And as a result, our souls, think of a ship on an ocean. If the ocean is turbulent, the soul will also go along with it. But you have a ship, and that's the key, is to navigate these vicissitudes, these waves. So he cannot escape it. Jacob tried to escape, and he was entitled. But he's a central figure in history. He's a soul that so many people are dependent on. Until this day we talk about him. So he's told, you want to live in peace, that's beautiful. But the world is not at peace. And as long as the world is not at peace, you are part of that. So you have to help the world find peace, and then you will find peace. You can't escape from the realities around us. And you do that by learning how to navigate. Because you do have that ship. You're not completely at the mercy of the waves. When we talk about Noah's ark, so the word in Hebrew for the ark is teva. Teva means a word, a letter. Letters that make up words. Surround yourself with holy words of prayer, of study. Immerse yourself there. Find your attention there. And that will protect you like a ship, like an ark. Even against the floodwaters raging around you. This, my friends, is the approach to life. We live in a very turbulent world today. But we have many, many tools. We have many ships. But it's up to you. You have to create your environment. You have to create your oasis, your protection. So we engage in the world. But we don't become it. You engage, but you always remain above it. Like a good ship. So life is made up of all these twists and turns. Some of them are extreme, and some will affect us. But we have the power to navigate through them. And we have the power to create a healthy form of these rhythms. A healthy contraction and expansion. So, the counterforce to anxiety, to lack of peace, lack of calm, is not a flat line. It's finding the healthy balance, finding projects, activities that engage you in that journey, expressing your deepest skills and talents, pushing yourself, letting others push you, you pushing others as well, which all propel us to reach greater and greater heights. So we continue to climb, and we continue that journey of the tension and the resolution, the flame. Remember the flickering flame. You are that flame. The wick contains the gravitational pull of the wick grounds you, but the flame is always flickering. You don't want that flame to be extinguished. Because what your flame has to offer, only you can offer. It's your unique contribution, your unique light, your unique song, your special music. and contribution to yourself, to your family, to the bigger picture. May we all be blessed with a perfect balance between the waves, the peaks and the valleys, the waves of our lives. And when we do have to face something, often that takes us in another place, we learn to navigate. We learn to stand. We have to get it back to the balanced place by channeling and harnessing that into a healthy tension resolution. And we should all merit to come to a point where we continue this journey, this mobile journey. God bless you in all possible ways. May you be that flickering flame that you are capable of being. May that flame illuminate and warm the entire environment around you. This is Simon Jacobson. MeaningfulLife.com is our website. Please subscribe to our offerings, to our YouTube channel. Please share these thoughts if you find them valuable. And please share your thoughts and feedback and comments. Be blessed and be well. Thank you.
This program is brought to you by the Meaningful Life Center. Please help us continue our programs. Make even a small contribution at meaningfullife.com/donate.